Warning. The following video contains a purely opinion-based perspective that may differ from your own personal views. The following content is up for a calm and civil discussion. Remember, we are all suffering through repentance together. United we stand, divided we fall, like Jacob and Esau. What's up, guys? King in the North here. Today, we're looking at planetariums. Planetariums are powerful items that can help give you an edge by passing on some of your item rooms. By passing, I mean not going into the item rooms at all. No peeking. While that may seem like a bad idea, think of how many times you wanted a tiers, speed, or damage upgrade, went into 3 item rooms, got Lemon Mishap, Headless Baby, and then Dead Sea Scrolls. It happens all the time. You know it. I know it. Ed knows it. We all know it. So, it might be better to play the odds. This is a table that breaks down your percentage of chance based on the number of item rooms that you skip. So, by skipping 0, you still have a very small chance, and it increases for each floor down to 6.8 on the last chapter's floor. If you skip 1 item room, however, it jumps up to 21.8% and increases for each floor after that if you only skip that 1 item room. Skipping more item rooms increases your chance. 4 and 5 seems a bit extreme, even 3 maybe. But if you're getting decent boss items, it might be worth going for 3. You'll get it a little bit sooner probably, but after you have it, make sure you start picking up your item rooms. If you're doing the Dogma fight, or you're going the Dogma path, you'll be able to go back up through the floors and get the item rooms you missed, so it's still a win-win, I guess, right? But after that, you might be wondering, what planetariums should you be targeting? I'm glad you asked, because that's why we're here. We're going to be taking a look at the planetariums from my perspective on what you want to look for. So, sit back, enjoy the planetarium music in the background, as you won't hear it very often, because planetarium rooms don't spawn that much, and you're only in there for a couple seconds to pick up the item and be on your way. So let's get started. To kick things off, making a gassy entrance is Jupiter. Description: you're a gas giant. You get 2 red heart containers, speed down. Players build speed while standing still though. When you move, you release gas that acts as a movement boost. When you run out of your gas, your speed goes down to, it's reduced by minus 0.3 from whatever your current speed stat is. Pros of this item, it's a poison cloud. Most of your enemies chase you in Isaac, so you'll be farting in their face, dealing tons of damage through your poison fart clouds. Sounds great, right? Who doesn't like that? You get a minor speed boost if you hold still for a while, but that requires the player to kind of, manipulate how they would normally move around. But the fart clouds are very large. Enemies will be running into them, and you'll be dealing plenty of poison damage with this planetarium. Cons, however, to make the most use out of this, requires a very weird movement pattern of stop and go, stop and go. You'll also probably get sick and tired of hearing farting every time you move while you're moving. About 3 rooms after you pick up this planetarium item, so you'll probably be turning your sound effect volume down, into which you'll be on one of the later floors and you'll be grabbed by mom because you didn't hear her laughing audio when you walked into a room. But in my opinion, it's still a good planetarium item. I am going to give this an A. And now that we've gassed out anyone who wants to take this video seriously, let's move on to Luna. Luna, description: the moon's blessing shines upon you. Each floor gets an extra secret room and super secret room. Secret rooms contain a beam of light that gives half a soul heart and increases your tier rate for that floor. Pros of this: it's great to get before taking on a boss. It gives you a tiers up that you hold for the entire floor, so it increases your DPS before going into a boss. Also gives you half a soul heart, so if there's no tinted rocks around, at least you'll be getting at least half a soul heart every floor to protect those deal chances. Cons, however, it's not a standalone planetarium in terms of usefulness. It's limited to gaining access to the secret rooms. When you have this planetarium, it shows you where a secret room is to get the ray of light, but it doesn't open it for you. You still need to use a bomb. So if you don't have any bombs or an item, which you're already going to be lacking because you passed up item rooms that reveal the secret room doors, you're kind of out of luck on this planetarium. This also might have limited use on someone like Hush. I don't know if a secret room will spawn on that floor. It also wouldn't help you very much in the Dogma Beast fight because there are no secret rooms in the house. So in terms of standalone survivability, lacking on this one and requiring bombs and having to manage all that, if you're using bombs to get chests, you might miss out on this one. So because of that, we got to put this at the B tier. Up next is Mercurius. Speed up and you feel elusive. Also, if the gases from Jupiter haven't cleared out of the room yet, this planetarium will help. This acts similar to a doorstop in the sense that you enter a room and you'll be able to back out. This also, however, leaves all other normal doors leading into normal rooms open. So if you walk into a room, you can immediately back out. This is very good for survivability, for like Lost Keeper runs, or if you're lacking parts, you can see what the enemy layout is in the room, or if you're walking into a dead end, and decide how you're going to approach the room. It's also good for later floors, womb and beyond, rooms where you'll take 1 heart of damage if you get hit. You can map your path out a little bit better. I think you can get into a boss room still. I think that'll still count as a normal door. You can't get out of a boss room, though. You have to fight. You need a card or a telepill to get out of the boss room upon entering a boss room. Cons of this, it's basically doorstop with a speed up. It's not bad, but it's not going to give you an edge against some enemies. So with that, it has to go into the B tier. Up next is Mars. Description: double tap dash. Tap the movement key twice and you'll perform a dash. And honestly, if this is the most exciting thing to give the Mars Planetarium item, should we even care if life exists on Mars? Probably not. It'll bore us to death. Pros for this, it gives you a ramming ability, so you can ram into an enemy and deal damage while giving you invincibility, but I don't necessarily like this. It's a little sloppy to set up sometimes with other obstacles in the room. Also, the dash doesn't cover the length of the room, so you could stop in front of another enemy and get hit with contact or another shot. So it's limited usefulness in my opinion, which kind of leads it to a cons area with the dash isn't always useful. You can dash into hazards like spikes or whatever. Also a high probability of proccing this by accident when you're just trying to dodge around a room. You're just moving around trying to get through shots. You could dash across the room by accident and put yourself in a worse position. As you can tell, I don't like this planetarium at all. I think it's very bad. This is one that you might want to restart if you get this one, or rely on the rest of your build. In all seriousness, if I had a gun with 2 bullets and I was in a room with Mars, Missing No, and Bloat, I'd shoot myself twice. So with that, we got to give this the F rank. Unfortunately, this doesn't go down to F. We're only at D. But if there was an F rank, this would certainly be going there. If you disagree with my assessment on this, feel free to leave your incorrect opinion in the comments below. Next up on the chopping block, list, is Venus. Venus gives you an HP up, and you feel pretty. Who doesn't like to feel pretty, or wanted, or loved? It's all great, right? Maybe. Venus adds 1 heart container, and nearby enemies are charmed. I had this on my Tainted Lost run, a little disappointed with it because it was only half useful. Got nothing for the red heart container. Lost can't have health. Didn't go to another stat. I'm not a huge fan of the charm effect either. You got to get close to an enemy, and it only protects you from enemies. It doesn't stop any enemies that are shooting you from a distance. But overall, I don't like how charm causes the AI to react. That's why I never take mom's eyeshadow. Not because I don't like wearing makeup. It's because the charm effect causes AI to act weird and unpredictable. So fast-moving enemies might be a little weird. And because of that, we got to put this into the C rank. I also like to point out, I don't like wearing makeup. Just wanted to throw that out there. Up next is Neptunus. Open the floodgates. While not firing, Isaac builds massive tier bonus over a couple seconds. The tiers fall off rapidly though when you start shooting. It works similarly to kidney stones, but it gives the player more control over the burst, and it's less painful than kidney stones. Pros for this: it gives you really good burst damage. It charges up in between rooms. When your gauge runs out, I believe your tier rate is your base tier rate, so it's not like this is a tiers down. I do like the burst damage on this. Cons for this, I guess, are if you're someone who just holds down the fire button and you're not really thinking or planning anything out, it's not that it's bad, it's just going to go to a waste. So the standalone functionality of this and a little bit of awareness of what you're doing, I think puts this as an S tier. First S tier on the board. It only took half the planetariums to get there. Up next is Pluto. Description is sized down. It's in honor of the dwarf planet Pluto, or asteroid. I honestly don't know what Pluto is anymore. Some scientists will say it's a planet, then they'll say it's an asteroid because it's too small, and then they'll say no, it's a planet, and then back to an asteroid, and then back to a dwarf planet, back and forth, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. Anyway, I digress. Great planetary item, in my opinion. It's super sized down and a bit of a tiers up. The pros for this: when you are shrunk to a super small size, you can squeeze in between objects and spikes. It also shrinks your hitbox, making you more difficult to hit with enemy shots. Enemy shots can also pass over you, and who doesn't like tiers up? Alright? It's DPS. It's all good. Cons for this: small characters may be more difficult to see on screen for some people. Those people probably shouldn't be playing. But, it is a con, right? Size down, tiers up. Sounds like S tier to me. Remember, size isn't everything, guys. Or whatever you want to tell yourself to help you sleep at night. But next is Saturnus. Saturnus, sorry. Ring of Tears is the description. And that's what it is. It gives Isaac a ring of tears that surrounds him. This ring can also catch enemy tears and turn them friendly, so you won't have to worry about them. It seems to be like maybe a luck proc that does that. But pros for this: Ring of Tear acts a bit of a shield, offensive, defensively. The shots on the ring are equivalent to your shot stats, or your tier stats, I guess. So range, speed, and size are all the same as what you would normally be shooting at. I don't know how Brimstone would work. I haven't messed with that yet. But it's a nice form of protection and a little bit offensively. It does have some cons, though, if you're not careful. Okay? You don't want to rely on this for offensive purposes, because once the tiers are gone, they don't replenish until you go into another room. And when you're in different rooms, there's occasionally TNT sitting around. The tiers on the ring will set off TNT, so you got to be careful to make sure you're not going to blow yourself up. And also, if an enemy approaches at a weird angle, the tier can hit them and cause them to bounce towards you, and putting you in like a little bit of jeopardy there. So it's not perfect, but if you're careful, it's not bad. You know what they say: if you like something, you should put a ring on it. And in this case, we're just going to put it in the A category. All right. She doesn't have to be perfect to get that ring. Lower your standards, guys. We got Soul next up on the board. All right. Radiant Victory. I want you to listen closely to this description. It reveals location of the boss room. After beating the boss, it activates a Sun card effect. Recharges active item, grants bonus damage and luck for the rest of the floor. That's a lot. After the boss fight. Yes, that's right. It buffs you after probably exploring 90% of the floor and beating what may be the hardest fight on the floor, and deals 100 damage to an empty room. But don't worry, at least you'll know where the secret room is and clear Curse of Darkness if you had it. Pros of this item: you'll have a general idea where the boss room is, pending you don't have Curse of the Lost, and you'll get a heal and spacebar charge at the end of the boss fight. Cons: most of the perks that you get from this planetarium are activated after most of the floor is done, so because a lot of it goes to waste, I have to put this in the C category. Alright? Up next is Terra. It's probably actually my favorite planetarium of the bunch. Description is born to rock. Tears turn into rocks with a damage up, knockback, and can destroy the environment and find secret rooms. Doesn't get much more rock than that, I guess. But pros for this: damage up. Who doesn't like damage up? It's just as good as Tears up. All right, and being able to look for crawl spaces and find secret rooms without having to use a bomb always feels good. All right, it's extra stuff for free essentially. Okay, and you don't have to worry about having Dr. Fetus blowing you up. It does the same thing without the risk. Cons, however: knockback shots can cause enemies to bounce. It could put like brimstone monsters in path for you to get hit. It's happened to me, so I do have to put it as a con. It happened a few times when I had this planetarium. The other downside too is actually its destruction of the environment. It's not so Green New Deal friendly. If you're using the obstacles in the room to protect yourself, you could end up destroying most of those, leaving yourself exposed. If you have flight and you're kind of going back and forth between rocks, it's going to destroy those rocks if you're shooting. So if you're like me and you like to use like rocks as like a form of a shield, you're going to have to be careful if you have these shots. I do put this in A rank. Just because it's my favorite doesn't mean it's the best. All right? I'm not biased. Just slightly. Last but not least, Uranus. Ice Tears. That's right. The Binding of Isaac passed up the opportunity of some jokes on this one. Wasted all the gas on Jupiter. Anyway, Isaac shoots ice tears. I mean, that's pretty awesome, right? Shooting icicles at everybody. But the icicles are a tear effect. When you shoot an enemy, it'll slow an enemy down. When the enemy dies, they freeze. The frozen monster can then be kicked into other enemies. If it misses the enemy, it can hit other obstacles, burst into like another icicle, shard blast, and hit other enemies and deal more damage. It's a nice tear effect, okay? It's very good. But it doesn't have any stat modifiers to it. So you still rely on all of your stats to kill an enemy, and instead of them just dying, they just turn to ice, which gives you another tool, I guess, in the room. But like I said, it relies on your ability still, so it's nice, but it's not going to give you a whole bunch of extra, and because of that, Uranus ends up as the butt of the joke, going to A. That's my tier list, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was fun. I hope you got some laughs out of it. I do look forward to seeing other people's opinions on what you guys think of the planetariums, and, you know, maybe something that I didn't see about these that I should make me like something less or like something more, like Mars, although it's going to take a lot of persuasion. But in all seriousness, thank you all for the continued support on the channel. It's been greatly appreciated. All the subs, comments, likes. It's always fun reading someone's views on our videos. It's a lot of fun. So I thank you all, and I will see you all on later runs on the floors below. Peace.